Last year, I watched every Adam Sandler movie ever made, and after hundreds of hours of Sandler, I can officially say I am retired from the Sandlerverse. Dude, from one of the greatest rom-coms ever made.
How you doing? I'm Robbie.
I'm Julia.
To whatever this shit is. Actually, that's piss. Right. Who are you? Come on.
Can't you tell?
Let me guess. I'm you from the future. I have watched every Adam Sandler movie that he will ever make. And let me tell you, the Chubbs Tribute and Happy Gilmore 2.
Damn alligator bit my hand.
Every time. Okay, but I just said I was done watching Adam Sandler movies. Like, I feel like there's nothing that he's going to do that's going to catch me by surprise. I've seen all the Sandler I need to see. Nope. What do you mean, nope? Just don't, come on. Are you serious right now? Okay. But have you seen his latest movie? Let me guess, he's a basketball coach again or something. Actually, he's a depressed astronaut on a solo mission to Jupiter, and he befriends some philosophical ancient space spider named Hanus. The year is 2014, right before he signed his Netflix contract. The Cobbler. Adam Sandler's first movie on Netflix wasn't one of his Netflix originals, it was actually a Toronto Film Festival release. However, it was the first new Adam Sandler film that I saw on Netflix, and it just so happened to hit the same exact year that he landed a $250 million deal with the streaming platform, so I'm gonna count it. The Cobbler is about a lonely man who plays a fourth-generation shoe repairman in a town that has outgrown its vintage ways. After his machine breaks, he discovers a magical stitcher in the back room that allows him to transform into whoever owned the shoes before him. They're not switching places Freaky Friday style, so when he transforms into a stranger, two of them exist simultaneously, which leads to some pretty sneaky shenanigans.
I am very, very sneaky, sir. I see that.
I remember when it first came out, critics were ripping it apart and touting the end of Sandler's career, but in hindsight, they might just be jealous of the $250 million bag he secured for the next 7 movies on my list. The movie's setting has a small-town charm to it to make me feel nostalgic at times. It has surprisingly high stakes during the climax that feel like a baby version of what we'll see later in Uncut Gems, and the soundtrack is a vibe. It's probably still on Netflix, so give it a shot. 6 out of 10. Quick fun fact, by the way, the name Sandler is in fact a Jewish occupational name, meaning shoemaker. So when we call him the Sandman, it's actually the Sandalman.
Shut up!
The Ridiculous Six is Sandler's first ever Western, and when the writers asked Sandler how many stereotypes to include, he responded with,
Now, is that a proper question to ask a lady?
The movie follows Tommy Stockburn, aka White Knife, who is a white man raised by Native Americans. While on a quest to find his dad,
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
he learns that he has 5 half-brothers, and they're willing to help him by using their various strengths.
I'm okay!
Without a doubt, the best scenes come from the brothers, and as much as I've ragged on this movie, it has some really good laughs. The brothers are by far the best part, and the cast is stacked. Terry Crews, Taylor Lautner, and Owen Wilson's brother, just to name a few.
Put the hookers back.
Personally, I think the crude humor goes a little overboard at times, and a lot of what I like gets overshadowed by it. It's a little bit Don't Mess with the Zohan, a little bit Blazing Saddles, and 100% unserious. Let me know what you think of this movie, because this is definitely a love or hate situation. Watch it for yourself, but for me, 4 out of 10. David Spade plays a beta male who had high expectations for his own life but never had the cojones to pull the trigger and live la vida loca. He's in a beat-up marriage raising stepkids that hate him, and worst of all, he would likely die in a fiery explosion before realizing any of his own potential. Or at least that's what he wants you to think. Sandler, the wild card from high school, takes him out on a crazy night of partying and luxury, and they party like it's their last thing on Earth. Some might even say they had a blast. Yeah, Sandler plans a bomb and gives him the option to fake his own death and live the rest of his life however he wants to under a new identity. This movie takes a lot of great twists and turns, and their new identities do not come without the consequences. It's a solid B-tier action movie, and seeing Sandler and Spade together is refreshing. I genuinely think this is a hidden gem in the Sandlerverse, and I can't believe more people don't talk about it.
Aren't you a little fucking tall for gymnastics?
7 out of 10. Set in the nostalgic 90s Hollywood era, Sandy Wexler is a Los Angeles talent manager who takes on a diverse group of entertainers, from aspiring singer Jennifer Hudson to off-brand Evel Knievel Nick Swardson.
Who fucking farted?
There's a great story hidden somewhere under the otherwise forgettable movie about a truly selfless man. Maybe he was the only talent manager in Los Angeles history who did everything for the love of quietly making other people famous and successful, and not just for the money himself. Unfortunately, they twist that underdog story into an unbelievable romance subplot, and it doesn't fit at all. It was almost good. It's almost good. Jennifer Hudson is still a powerhouse of talent. So if you're a fan of her, I guess it's still worth the watch, but otherwise, after a year has passed since I've watched it, it's still one of my least likely to revisit. I'm sorry, I promise they're gonna start getting better. 4 out of 10. The Meyerowitz Stories is a comedy drama film that follows the lives of the Meyerowitz family, focusing primarily on the adult children as they gather together to celebrate the artistic achievements of their late father, played by freaking Dustin Hoffman. When I say adult children, imagine like the kids from Bob's Burger all grown up, but now they have to plan a funeral. Same vibe. The trio of Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller, and Elizabeth Marvel have amazing awkward sibling chemistry. And although the movie is dialogue heavy, it's one of the movies you really have to pay attention to so that you can relate to the characters. The plot itself is simple, but the portrayal of the familial relationships is insightful. Though there is one scene in particular at a retirement home that will always make me laugh, the best scenes are spent exploring the dysfunctional family and the bonds that somehow hold all of them together. I love watching movies like this when I'm on a plane, when I can just shut everything out and enjoy something that's a little slower paced, if that makes any sense to you. So, hey, if you have a trip coming up soon, put your phone down, let this one soak in, you might find it surprisingly good. I'll go 6 out of 10. Okay, remember how I said I was gonna get good soon? Not yet. The Week Of was actually the lowest rated movie on my would I ever watch it again scale. It's a drama about two fathers, Chris Rock and of course Sandler, who come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, but are brought together by the impending marriage of their children. Sandler, a middle-class Long Island father, while Rock is a wealthy surgeon from Los Angeles. I wish I could say more about the plot, but that's it. It's a dull, goofy wedding movie. The chemistry between Rock and Sandler is good, but it's not good enough to save the movie. There's some racial jokes towards his in-laws, but it's not well done or self-aware like Jordan Peele or Chappelle's script.
Nice to. These are your family, right?
I don't know them.
Me neither.
Oh, okay.
I guess I did the racisms. Gotta do the racism. That's a terrible impression. Bad things happen, then good things happen. If you don't believe me, here's a review from The Guardian. Another dismal outing from Sandler, a comedy so flaccid and insipid that it makes last year's Sandy Wexler look like Annie Hall. 2 out of 10. In 2019, Netflix released a stacked catalog of movies including The Irishman, Into the Spider-Verse, and The Incredibles 2. This movie actually dominated them in views. Almost 31 million households tuned in the first 72 hours. To put that into perspective, Game of Thrones at its peak of the season 8 finale used to pull in like between 10 and 13 million views per episode. Mind you, people were laser focused on Game of Thrones and not just practicing unsafe sex with it playing in the background.
You!
Anyways, Murder Mystery. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston team up again 8 years after their movie Just Go With It, if you watched that one. And I feel like these two always have fun when they work together. Nick Spitz is a New York City cop who has aspirations to one day become a detective, but hasn't earned that rank yet. His wife, Audrey, is a relatable hairdresser who likes to read mystery books in her spare time. To try and reignite the spark in their marriage, they go on that big European vacation they've always dreamt of. And without any spoilers, they find themselves in the middle of a whodunit scenario. Not only is this one of the best movies I've watched on Netflix that wasn't Korean, I think it might make his top 10 overall. It's the perfect movie to just put on at any time, whether you're with friends or family. If you like movies like The Murder on Orient Express, give this one a shot. This is a fun but simplified version that pays some homage to the classics. 8 out of 10. Hubie Halloween is a comedy film starring Adam Sandler as Hubie Dubois, or as we like to say in Pennsylvania, Du Boys, just not in the Nickelodeon executive kind of way. Hubert is the kind-hearted but eccentric community volunteer in a residential part of Salem, Massachusetts, which is always a good setting for spooky season. Say what you want about this movie, but Hubie is probably my favorite goofy character Sandler has created since the Zohan. He's a little bit Frankenstein, a little bit Little Nicky after getting hit in the face by a shovel.
But you have something that he doesn't have.
A speech impediment?
Except he was hit in the face by God. The plot revolves around Hubie's efforts to keep the town safe on Halloween night despite being ridiculed and dismissed by his fellow townspeople. When mysterious events start occurring, Hubie becomes convinced that it's something more than a toilet paper and there's a real danger lurking, so it's up to Hubie Doobie to save the day.
Pumpkin.
This is another comfort movie to slap on anytime in October or early November, and it's filled with Easter eggs and cameos to his most popular work. I better double check before I get this right. Was Julie Bowen Happy Gilmore, or was that Veronica Vaughn? Virginia Venett. Happy Gilmore. Yeah, the love interest is the reporter chick from Happy Gilmore. Guess she's doing good. I actually like Hubie Halloween. 6 out of 10. It's no secret that Adam Sandler is a massive basketball fan, but for some reason he made 2 great football movies and then changed the entire sport of golf forever first. The closest we got to a basketball movie was probably the subplot of 8 Crazy Nights or the betting of Uncut Gems. We never got a real basketball movie. Maybe, just maybe, he was waiting for something special. Hustle, released in 2022, is finally Sandler's love letter to basketball. Stanley Sugarman is a down-on-his-luck basketball scout working for the Philadelphia 76ers, and after being ousted by his competition, he decides to look abroad for new talent. This movie quickly turns his attention away from Sandler's character and into his young prospect, Bo Cruz. Now it's about a talented foreign player going through the grueling hell in order to make it into the big leagues. Everything about this movie, down to the casting of an actual NBA player with no acting experience, whose name I cannot pronounce, feels genuine, and he kills it, by the way. It's Rocky, but basketball, and arguably the best movie he's released since his 90s renaissance. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. This is a must-watch. Go watch Hustle. I was shocked when I learned how many people watched Murder Mystery. However, I am not shocked to see how fast they cranked out a sequel. And Sandler doesn't really do sequels. Well, I mean, there's Happy Gilmore 2, The Waterboy 2, Grown Ups 3, and we don't talk about Billy Madison 2. Shouldn't have gone there. I don't even want to know. Grown Ups is a rare exception, and Hotel Transylvania, I guess. So a sequel this fast probably means the numbers were legit. Murder Mystery 2 takes place 4 years after the first movie. After their criminal success abroad, they quit their day jobs and started their own detective agency. I love how their relationship seems to have actually grown from the European vacation, by the way. After all, their lack of spark was the reason they got dragged into everything in the first place. Fun little detail. Working on relationships works.
Terrific.
While practicing private investigation and studying for their official detective licenses, the Maharaja from the first movie falls in love with the blonde model and invites the Spitzes to their paradise wedding. You'll never guess what happens next. As per usual, the shooting locations are gorgeous. Sandler is undoubtedly the Tom Brady of using tropical destinations as tax write-offs, and once again, the movie is great from start to finish. Number 2 is well-paced, self-aware, and full of more ridiculous characters. I can't choose between the two which one is better. If you'd like another follow-up, another Anytime movie, or you want to see a braless 54-year-old Jennifer Aniston, you're sick in the head, and I may God have mercy on your soul. 8 out of 10. Now, what was the timestamp where she gets upskirt? You are so not invited to my bat mitzvah taught me that bat mitzvah wasn't actually just a typo of bar mitzvah. This movie's pretty wholesome. 2 of the main characters are Sandler's real-life daughters, Sadie and Sunny, and they're naturals. Their sibling chemistry is omnipresent, and at every time they're on screen together, it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like we walked into their homes with a camera crew.
You're welcome. Thank you, love you.
You Are So Not Invited follows the younger daughter who wants to throw an epic bat mitzvah and impress her classmates. It's a sweet coming-of-age story that doesn't get too carried away with its usage of social media as exposition, and I appreciate that. I don't know how many people still give him credit for this, but Sandler has been spearheading Jewish representation in Hollywood all the way back to the Hanukkah song, and it's fun to experience a tiny bit more of their culture. Other than his movies and music, all I had growing up was Harold from Hey Arnold. It's a PG-13 movie, so it's aimed for a younger audience. Definitely something that you can watch with your kids, especially younger daughters. Good, clean family fun. I'll go 6 out of 10 again. Leo is the 3rd Netflix movie he released in 2023. And this time, Adam Sandler plays a talking lizard in a comedy musical who feels like he has spent his entire life caged up as a class pet. His co-star is a turtle voiced by Bill Burr, and as you can imagine with those two, their frenemy rivalry fills most of the best scenes.
That's chameleons. I'm not a chameleon.
Oh, well, then you're a dead man.
Surprisingly, just as much of the movie is written towards the adults watching it as their kids, reminding you that you're not as old as you think you are to good parenting advice.
And this is a point my wife always makes with me. You just got to listen to these kids and let them figure it out. You can help guide them or give them confidence or understanding and nod along, but you don't have to fix their problems. You're supposed to just help them get to fixing it themselves.
There's a lot of musical numbers. It's technically a musical, even though I didn't get that in the trailer.
Suck it up.
Sandler and Burr both excel when it comes to voice work, and it seems like the critics actually agreed for once. It got a solid 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. Another good family movie with free parenting advice that will hopefully take your kids just one step away from being iPad babies. 7 out of 10. And now the grand finale, and the reason why I made this video in the first place. Spaceman, our first movie of 2024, is especially unique. Adam Sandler plays a Czech astronaut, Jacob Prohaska, who was on a 6-month solo mission to Jupiter despite leaving his pregnant wife at home. This is the second hardest movie I've ever had to review. It's deeply philosophical, and after they introduce his co-star, who is a god-like talking space spider, the plot drips with a constant pseudo-intellectual heaviness. It's like Adam Sandler starring in a Black Mirror episode. It's not funny at all, so don't expect any laughs. Instead, watch this one if you like movies that are more thought-provoking, like Donnie Darko or Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. It's not his best, and it's not as good of a space movie as, let's say, Interstellar, but it's certainly thought-provoking and different. 7.5, we'll go in the middle. If you made it this far, thank you. I grew up watching Adam Sandler movies, and I think it's amazing that he's still cranking them out. I have just one left, except it's not a feature film. If you like Adam Sandler content, please subscribe and check out the rest of my channel, where I'll be covering tons of 90s and 2000s classics soon, and definitely the upcoming massive Sandler sequels like Happy Gilmore 2. In 2018, Sandler had one more Netflix original that took him back to his comedy roots for a change, where he played his silly original songs and paid tribute once again to his good friend and legend of the game, Chris Farley. It was a stand-up special called 100% Fresh, which is a poke of fun at the movie critics on Rotten Tomatoes that continuously ridicule his style of comedy. You can tell that Sandler had this transition from this popular, lovable young man who wanted to impress everybody and make them laugh, to the guy who wears sweatpants every day, shoots hoops with strangers, and just makes stuff that he enjoys.
What the hell are you doing? I'm not standing next to him. I didn't do it.
He even escaped the fundamental route of Hollywood, starting Happy Madison Productions and lived his life the Frank Sinatra way. There's always something particularly special about the Sandlerverse, and I think early on he accepted the fact that he didn't have to follow suit. He didn't have to pretend to be one of them. Sandler is an inspiration to me and many others, and it's been an honor to share a name with you. As always, my name's Adam. Thanks for watching.